We have to be harder to play against, and we have to create more repeatable patterns for chance creation. But what the do people want? Guess what? We've tried changing the manager. Loads. It don't work. And people are like, football has changed. No, it hasn't. Last time I checked, it was still 11 versus 11, right? And if anything, it's cyclical. So the shapes and the patterns that you're seeing now, Walter Winterbottom was about with that in 1909.
Hello and welcome to Stretford Paddock. This is Off the Bar. My name is Joe. That is Jay. This is Stephen Howson. We've got almost too much to talk about today. It seems after just 3 games,
Not sure I agree.
United are in absolute freefall. It's a nightmare scenario already.
Why does he get his full name?
What?
You go, that's Jay, that's Stephen Howson. Why didn't I get Jay?
Just
Also,
didn't
by
slot his head.
the way, we only lost the one game, and we should have won it, and then we drew the other 2. If you want to get technical.
No, I don't believe. I
Well, do you know what?
disagree.
That's more accurate than what I heard on Sky this morning. Me and you were listening to it, where they were going, they haven't got any points in the Premier League. I thought, well, we have.
Yeah.
You don't have to make. We're bad. We know we're bad. You don't have to make things up.
Just lie.
You can just tell the truth, and it'll be bad enough. Honestly.
And it is bad enough.
Yeah.
It absolutely is bad enough. The manager has almost added fuel to the fire. I say added fuel to the fire. He's almost gone out to the woods, got the kindling, got the slightly bigger logs, got the even bigger ones, chopped them in half, built them in a sort of pyramid formation, then got fuel for the fire, then set it on fire, then thrown himself on it.
Unless you're talking about a different sort. Well, the word you were looking for is accelerant rather than fuel.
Yeah, I think he's added and is his own accelerant to this fire to a certain degree. We're going to get into all that. There's so much to go through. The results so far, what the manager's been saying, what it means for him, for Man United, what INEOS can do with the sort of body of work they've seen so far this season. There's a few sort of almost kind of storytelling and narrative devices that if you were writing the story of the failure of Manchester United, someone might elbow you in the ribs and say, wasn't this a bit on the nose? For instance, at the end of last season, Amorim saying the words, 6 months ago in my first 3 games in charge, I said to you a storm is coming. Today, after this disaster of a season, I want to tell you that the good days are coming. There was literally thunder and lightning at the game last night that may well be the sort of final nail in the coffin. Poetry.
Yeah,
then you've got the 3 transfers to bring us more goals that came in. One of them missed the penalty to win us the game.
Yeah.
The other one missed the penalty to lose us the game. And the third one, when the last of all of our outfield players, whether he was scared, whether they forgot to pick his name, not sure, but when your £70 million striker is taking your last penalty before your keeper, that's a bit odd. And that doesn't look great, does it? They've also got Amorim fiddling with his tactics board while Rome burns, looking like David Moyes or some kid on the back of the bus who ain't got any mates, who's just playing with his little figurines. The visuals of that game were just horrific, weren't they?
I said it to you last night, there's a little bit of Wally and the Brolly with the way he was sitting there during the penalty shootout. That was not a good look, was it?
The optics were bad.
Yeah, but do you know what? We never got optics of Fergie on the bench during penalty shootouts because he did the same thing, you know.
What?
You tell me what Fergie did during Rome. Not Rome, Moscow.
He was getting soaked because it was raining, wasn't it? I remember the pictures of him. He was in the dugout getting soaked, wasn't he? Well, I'd say he used to be big for that.
Was he?
Big for not getting involved. I know he's not United related, but Brian Clough apparently didn't get involved in penalties. Didn't even he'd sit in the dugout. He wouldn't even go and chat to anyone.
Really?
Just leave him
But they won.
Yeah.
And that's the difference.
It's not.
You get away with everything you want
I wanted
when
to
you
ask
win.
you this day on the Sesko front, because obviously you coach and stuff. Is it a case of the players put their hands up, and if Sesko doesn't, that's why he's at the end? Do you think that's it, or do you think it's a manager said to him, you can go last? Does it have to be the player led that decision? Because he's getting absolute pellers. Can you see a scenario where the coaches or anyone has said to him, look, you know, the last thing you need is the pressure of a penalty or whatever, or do you think he's not stepped up?
I don't know, but at the end of the day, they can all take a penalty.
Yeah.
Dennis Irwin and Steve Bruce were 2 of the best penalty takers you've ever seen, just because their position suggests defender. You know, penalty taking is a bit more psychological than it is technical, I think. It was his first start. I don't know, Joe, the one I was the most worried about stepping up was Kobe Mainoo.
That's the one I left the room for. I didn't watch any of it, I couldn't cope with it because I thought the narrative that's going to...
Yeah, the whole shoulders on him weren't looking good, but he buried it. I thought, oh, this is already written in it. Yeah. As he stepped up for it, I was like, the narrative of today plus this,
I think my
but
list
still
would have
just-
exploded there if Maynard would have then missed the losing penalty.
Yeah.
That would have been just too many. Like, what is going on? What are the script writers thinking by making him miss it? I'm glad.
By
he
the
scored.
way, levered it.
Yeah, great penalty.
Who there's the hardest, reckon? Maguire is pretty
Maguire.
hard, wasn't he? Yeah.
He just
Jesus
twats
Christ.
it, doesn't he? Gets it up
They
a
should
little
have
bit
Got
as
his
well.
head behind it.
Yeah.
They should have let Sesko go first, and then that would have just ended the conversation. Because even if he misses, it's not over, is it? Do you
No.
know what I mean? It's like...
I mean, obviously, Onana got a lot of criticism as well. Actually, let's stick with Sesko for now because we need to talk about the goalkeeper, his performance, and the penalty shootout, not just the penalty shootout. So Sesko, there's loads of problems with the game yesterday. He barely got involved, if we're honest. It was a relatively poor outing from him. It's his first start, like you said, Steve. It's one of those horrible fixtures where, on the face of it, it should be easier because they're so much below you. But on the other hand, they're a big physical team and they're sat back in their own box and go ahead and break them down by yourself. It's not easy to play in those sorts of games, but it wasn't a good performance at all, was it, Jay?
No, was it the chance at the end where we thought it was De Ligt or him and missed and it was him?
Yeah, I think it was him.
I think he had a header that was decent, but other than that, he had a shot. But other than that, he didn't offer a lot. And the service isn't great, and he's not been great at Manchester United for a long time, so I sympathise with any striker that's playing for United. But if you watch that game, you wouldn't have thought that's a £70 million striker or that's one of the most sought-after strikers in Europe. He just looks a bit average. Now, what I will say is, yes, it's poor opposition. It's League 2 opposition, say poorly beat us, but it's League 2 opposition. So, you know, he should be doing better or whatever, but it's still his first proper game.
Yeah.
He's just getting used to English football. Wasn't good enough, but it's not like I go, right, well, that's it. Benjamin Sesko was a disastrous signing.
Yeah.
I expect him to do much, much better. And I expect him to progress as a United player. He's still relatively young. I think there's going to be he's obviously going to play a lot more games than just one. And we'll see more from him. And hopefully we can get him on the score sheet sooner rather than later. Because what I don't want to see is that whole, which is a proper new thing of like 007 and all that shite that you see. You know, it's like 7 games without a goal and an assist. Like, we don't need any of that.
And one thing that is a bit of an improvement, again, we're playing Grimsby, but Grimsby outplayed us, so, you know, we can't be completely dismissive. He did get 6 shots, which is something that Hoyland has struggled to do in 2 years. I know you should get 6 shots against Grimsby, like I said, but he got the equal most shots of anyone on the pitch. So, you know, that is some level of like, you have 6 shots every week, you're probably not going to score 10 goals or whatever it was that Hoyland got last season. But were you impressed or worried or just put it down to a bad day, Steve?
I think I don't had a good game. That's all. I don't know. I don't want to read that deeply into it, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's just, it wasn't a good performance. We were outplayed, and I'm not necessarily sure I agree with you that they sat back in their box. I think late in the game they did.
That's what I mean. Yeah, second half-ish.
Yeah.
But the first 30 minutes they just outplayed us from four.
They stuck it on us.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
It was so weird, that first 30 minutes, because it was like they looked like the Premier League team and we looked like the League 2 team.
We looked
They
stunned.
outplayed us.
Yeah.
They overloaded us.
Yeah.
They were more precise with their passing. They were they just looked like they had better options. Like, just, you know, it was bizarre.
It was bizarre because even players that I like, players that we've all praised, players like Patrick Dorgan, players like Ahmad, they looked lost. What's going on?
No touch on them.
Yeah.
The amount of like misplaced touches that went for a throw-in was probably more than I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was. I think bizarre is a good way to describe it, because it wasn't like backs to the wall, hoofing it up, set pieces. I know they scored from a set piece, but it wasn't like, oh, they just, you know, sort of did a smash and grab for at least 50, 60 minutes.
Tell you
They
what,
looked
though,
like the better team, far better team. at some
Just the
points.
FA Cup to concentrate on the 27th of August is a hell of a new experience, isn't it?
We've never been here before, have we? We've never even been in this round of the cup
Well,
before,
we're-
let alone know Europe as
We're
well.
almost at the stage of less than 1 game a week.
Yeah.
Do you remember they're like, oh, we've got 1 game a week.
Yeah.
If we lose that FA Cup game, it's literally less than a game
Yeah,
a week.
it's like a game, 2 games every 3
36
weeks.
games to spread out over the next 40 weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a game every
Jesus,
8
lads,
days.
Come on.
Like, do you know what I mean?
How rare do your games have to be for you to start playing well?
Oh, our content's going to get funky.
I know.
Yeah,
we need
it's
to
going to be
talk
like, remember the
about-
Athletic in lockdown, where it's like, we tracked down the
Manchester United's first
burger
Mozambique
seller.
fan.
Yeah, like, it's going to be like
This
proper
man
one of them.
invented leather. The material that went on to be footballs. You're like, we can't do this. And we need to talk about some of the managers' quotes, because all of our post-match stuff happened pre these quotes coming out.
Yeah.
So we haven't spoken about these together. And I think this is the thing that takes it from... There could easily have been a debate after the game. If Amorim just came out and went, awful day, we go again, there would have been this, loads of fans saying, if you're talking about him leaving, it's only 3 games in, what we're being silly for, this and the other. And if you said he should stay, you would still have all the people telling him to go out. These quotes have made it that we all have to face the fact that our own manager is talking about not being here anymore. There's no one can say, we're only 3 games in, why are you being hyperbolic or why are you, over-egging it? He's saying this. So I'll get into some of the quotes. So he said, in the end, it doesn't matter if we recover or not. It's the signs the team gave during the game. So basically, whether we won that penalty shootout or not, it's almost irrelevant. The beginning of the game, I think the best team won. The only team that was on the pitch, the best players lose because one team can win against any group of players. And I think that the team and the players spoke really loudly today. So that's it. We lost, the best team won. Then he got pressed on what he means by this spoke really loudly, because he said this across 3 different interviews. He said, I think it's really clear what they spoke. Let's move on from this. And I think it was clear from everybody what happened today. He also said, something has to change and we can't sell or change 22 players. Essentially indicating, Steve, that he's the thing that has to change, presumably.
That's the only conclusion you can draw from the quotes. It is.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of wibble in there.
Yeah.
But I've never given an interview in Portuguese, so I can't imagine what that would sound like. So I have to empathise with a man that's being grilled, probably while his head is all over the gaff, speaking in not his native language, being asked questions, trying to get a point across, but not having full fluency of the language. I think we kind of got to the gist of what he was saying now, and I think the only conclusion that he can draw is I think we asked this last night. Did he offer his resignation last season?
Supposedly,
was it after the Europa League final where he alluded? In fact, do you know what? I've got
Laurie mentioned it.
I've got the quote here. I think. Sorry, forgive me. I've got the quote. Someone shared it in my group chat this morning because there was this discussion. So this was in the Athletic, and it said only 4 weeks ago in Chicago. So obviously this was talking about pre-season. During United's pre-season tour, Amorim confirmed he had considered his position at times last season following his November appointment, but as the Athletic had previously reported, but he was resolute on having become certain of his course at the club. Reports emerged of the camp being unprecedentedly positive and unified. It seems this was a fragile rebirth, though.
Wait, considering it doesn't mean that you actually wrote out a resignation and stuck it through the letterbox.
Yeah, that's true.
He could have sat there and gone, don't know if I'm the guy for this.
Yeah.
And that's, considering the thing, isn't it?
I don't know if he formally said, here's my resignation, and Wilcox has gone, well, you can forget that. We're backing you or whatever. But he's an emotional guy, isn't he? Like, we've seen that. We saw it when he did the post-match presser and he said, this is the worst United team ever. And then he got called out and he sort of spoke about it was just the heat of the moment and
what I meant to say was it's the worst United team ever. Pay attention, you did.
Yeah. Basically,
He's certainly gone on to prove that.
Yeah. So we know, like,
stand by. You'll soon be on board.
I know he's completely different as a manager, but he reminds me a little bit of Kevin Keegan in that sort of, once you put a microphone in front of him after a game, you're going to get his thoughts. He's not going to filter them. He's not going to, I better just take 10 minutes here and think about what I'm going to say. He's going to tell you immediately what is on his mind. And that has positives, and also sometimes it can be a negative because he may say things that when he's had a little time to sleep on it or whatever, he wishes he hadn't. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I think we'll find out over the next few days just where his head's at.
Before we go on, Steve.
I got a funny Kevin Keegan story.
Love that. Go on.
Yeah, go on.
A friend of mine used to play for City.
Okay.
He didn't make don't think he made a first team appearance, but he was training with the first team at the time, and it was while Kevin Keegan was the manager. And do you remember people used to leave the phone on a table in a pub?
Yeah.
Well, he left his phone on the table in the pub, so he grabbed his phone. This is before.
Whose phone is it?
Kevin Keegan's.
Our friends.
Okay, and Keegan grabs the phone.
No.
Your friend grabs Kevin Keegan's phone.
No, I grab his phone. He plays for Manchester City.
Oh right, sorry.
Oh.
Kevin Keegan is Manchester City manager at this moment.
So you grab your friend's phone. Right.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And we text Kevin Keegan and said, "You're a shit manager, mate." Sent it.
So to the point. Isn't it? That was
Did he get a reply?
Well before unsend message was
Not
a
while we were still in the pub.
Because you could have done it in dirty as well. Like,
I mean, he never played for Man City. So
one, he never played for
Delete the
Manchester
send
City.
Yeah.
Two, he did end up getting sacked from Manchester City for something else.
Yeah, I think I might know you're on about.
He did this to me on tour.
No, I know what he means. I know exactly what he means. I'm not going to say.
Joe, it's a tried and tested thing to do.
We were driving, and then someone messaged in like my girlfriend's family group chat, and you said, "Shut the fuck up," and it sent, and people replied to it as I was trying to frantically delete it. So yeah, it's something you haven't learned your lesson from.
See, this is the one with the Hey Siri thing that you can get in cars now. So when someone WhatsApps you or messages you, if you're in a car and it's all connected, you can just be like, "Hey Siri, reply." Or it says, "Would you like to reply?" And you go, "Yes," real quick. Send.
Yeah, it can
Suck
really
my pussy, Batman. Or
yeah,
something
it
like
can
that.
really cause some damage. That.
That's
And weirdly enough, Kevin Keegan is my father-in-law, so you know that's twice you've done
I
him.
went round
Now.
to his house once, Kevin Keegan.
You did.
Yeah.
How many
Good day.
portraits of himself was there?
12. That was just in the front room though.
Was it?
No, he was sound, to be fair. It was about Manchester was going bidding for something and he was involved in it. So I went around and interviewed him. He was dead nice considering he's an ex-City and Liverpool alumni.
Yeah, but he's a mentalist, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
One of the greatest
European
British
footballer of the year.
of all
Was it
time.
2-time
Twice,
European footballer of the year?
yeah.
Where at? Hamburg.
Yeah, go on. He's not as daft as he looks. That is mental, by the way, isn't it?
Is he the only British person to do that?
Probably.
Rings a bell.
Yeah. Charlton only got one, didn't he? Michael Owen bizarrely got one.
Yeah, which is a Ballon d'Or, by the way. 'Cause it used to be called European Footballer of the Year. They just
tweaked it.
No, I can't think of any. There might be some. People can let us know.
Unbelievable. Before we get to the actual future of the manager, I do want to talk about the players a little bit, because one thing that he's hinting at before he talks about, you know, we'll play the Burnley game and we'll make some decisions after that, or, you know, what...
what?
Which is insane. And he did say that. He did say that.
What?
We're 3 games in. Why do we think that happened yesterday? Now we have the context of these quotes. Do you think they've given up on him? Do you think they've down tools, or don't like his system? What didn't they like about that game and the Fulham game specifically in the second half?
Why do they have to like it? No, why can't they just do the fucking job?
That's a good point.
What made them incapable of playing well in those games?
I genuinely think there was a bit of complacency as well. I actually think we went out there and thought, we'll be all right here. We'll win this game. Even when we went 2-0 down, I still thought there wasn't the sense of urgency that there should have been. Look at the first goal, for example. I know Andre Onana has a stinker, but you've got Ahmad falling over, Ugarte falling over, Fredrickson, who's only a kid to be fair to him, but he doesn't get over there quick enough. It's just comical, and it's not like there's that energy and effort that we've seen in the first 2 Premier League games.
That was the second goal, wasn't it?
No, the second goal was the punch where he missed. That was
the first goal was near post, past the keeper.
All right, yeah, but Tyler Fredrickson's got to get closer to that.
That's what I mean. That's again, he's a youngster, but still, he plays his part in that goal.
Get in the way.
Yeah, and like we didn't play like that against Arsenal. If we did, we'd have lost 7-0. We turned up, even against Fulham, which wasn't a great result. There was a better effort and a better performance. Yeah. So what happened there? I think complacency comes into it, and I don't think it's necessarily the player saying, I can't be doing with you, you can bore off as a manager. I think they just thought, it's Grimsby. And then all of a sudden, after 5 minutes, they're a bit shell-shocked, like, bloody hell.
You can't turn it around.
Yeah, and it just can't quite step up a gear.
That 11 was ample. It was very close to the one that I picked in my preview, but I had Tom Eaton in there and we'd have been fine. But the back 3 was exactly what I said. Yep. The midfield 2 is exactly what I said. I think I had Ahmad and Dorgu, because I said, let's go for it a bit. And I think I had Xerxes, Bruno behind Sesko, something like that. But it wasn't far off what I thought. No. And is it rotated? Yeah, it's got a load of players that haven't started any games so far this season. But it's still worth about 700 fucking million. It's still it's still littered with international footballers. Yeah. It's still absolutely ample to go and get the job done. And they didn't get the job done. And like we've already said, they were outplayed. They didn't get outfought. They didn't get low blocked and a bit lucky. And I know they did score from crosses and corners, but they still outplayed us. That wasn't the kick and rush, hold on, fingernail sort of victory that you do get with a cup upset. They deserved it.
No, I completely agree. That's the frustrating thing.
So
you could almost forgive it if there was an element of luck or something in it. I know it's difficult to forgive any loss to a League Two side, but you could understand it a bit better. But you're just looking at a team that outplayed us and outfought us, who were 4 divisions below us or whatever, or 3 divisions below us. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, really, isn't it? And I do wonder what he means then, because he said they showed us tonight what they want. Like, he's obviously talking about more than just, I mean, unless he's saying they want to not try very hard and they want to sort of piss about and win anyway. I don't get that one. No, and I don't understand why. It's because it is obviously worse than ever with Amorim. But the season before that, we finished 8th with Ten Hag, which at the time was our equal worst, or maybe worst ever Premier League finish. And then, so that's been 2 years and 3 games now since we've actually been any good. And realistically, the back end of the season before that, post Carabao, wasn't great.
No.
So it's been 2 years and a few games where United have looked less we've applied less effort, less work, less more complacency, more kind of pissing around than the other team we're playing against more often than not. What's going on? Because a lot of the players are different, the manager's different. I don't understand why we're so fragile, so easy to beat, no matter who we play against. It is realistically, I think that interview and those interviews from Amorim last night were a man who is running out of ideas. I don't think he knows why it's happening. Because even he referenced how good pre-season was, and how can we see one thing in pre-season where we're playing a certain way, everyone looks happy, everyone looks up for it, then within 3 games or 2.5 games, United already look hideous.
All those times you've mentioned from Erik ten Hag finishing 8th to now, I'm trying to look at what has been a consistent sort of theme that we've spoken about during that time.
Pogba.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Pogba, that's the one. I think one consistent theme has been the midfield. That's just been an issue that we've not really resolved. Yeah. We've got players that obviously can play midfield. We don't seem to know what our best midfield is. We don't seem to have a combination that works. That's been going on since before we finished 8th, if we're being honest. Lack of goals has been an issue during that time. We haven't been scoring enough goals. We've all agreed on that. We've all spoken about it. We thought Hoyland might be the problem. I know it's only early days for Sesko, but he didn't score last night. He didn't look great last night. And another continuing theme throughout that period as well has been lack of leadership on the pitch. Lack of players that are going to get hold of the ball or take responsibility and say, right, this is what we need to be doing. Show that sort of character that you used to see from the great United captains like Steve Bruce, Eric Cantona, Keano and Robbo. We haven't got anyone like that, really.
I feel like we've tried to address sort of a couple of those things. I feel like we have tried to address the goals thing. Obviously, we spent 200 million on a new front line this year. I think Cunha plays like a bit of a leader to me. Yeah. I know it's not by himself. Bruno was poor again, and I want to talk about Bruno separately in a minute. But you have got Bruno there who is the leader. I think De Ligt played like a bit of a leader against Grimsby. He looked like he was trying to push a bit harder than the rest and trying to drag things forward. I know he didn't play amazingly well, but
it's mad. It is mad. I'm not having a go at you. It is mad as you hear those sentences, isn't it? It's like it is crazy.
Yeah, we need strong leaders to beat Grimsby.
Didn't concede while he was on the pitch.
Yeah, he didn't concede.
And again, none of them were amazing, and they're not Roy Keane. No. But I think theoretically they have tried to address the lack of leaders thing, but clearly it's not working. And the goal thing so far isn't working.
These are the midfield conversations we have all the time, and it's like it's just not. They're not going away, are they?
No.
We're still going to be talking about it when we all do our review on Saturday evening or whenever we next all meet up. We're probably going to be talking about after the Burnley game. Lack of goals, midfield looking too open. Where are leaders? It's just I'm sick of repeating myself, but this is the theme, innit? We weren't talking about that first season on Erik ten Hag, which wasn't flawless. Let's not forget we got battered off the Scousers and lost the cup final to Manchester City, so it had its low points. But we won a trophy and we finished 3rd. And we had players like Martinez who stepped up and showed character, who showed a bit of leadership. We had Casemiro for 6 months, looked like one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. We had some of these issues addressed. Not all of them. I still think we were struggling goals-wise. But Marcus Rashford had his best ever season, so that helps. So there were certain parts of that were addressed. Then the following season, it was gone again. And all those issues resurfaced for injuries or whatever, or lack of form, whatever. And the season after that. And now we're here again, 3 games in, saying the same old problems. And I know you pointed out we've tried to address them with the signings, and you're probably right. And we might be sat here in March saying, or May going, well, we turned it around. It's just, from what we've seen so far, it's still not great. We scored 1 Premier League goal, which was, all right, it's a goal, but it wasn't an own goal. We scored 2 against Grimsby. Fucking what did he do?
It's mad, isn't it? It is mad. What do you think INEOS do, Steve? Because they could sack the manager, they could come out and publicly back him, they could go, sell the club, they could go out and desperately try and get
Sheikh Jassim and hope he's real.
Just looking through the white pages for Sheikh Jassim. They could go all out for a goalie.
Found his WhatsApp.
Yeah. Go all out for...
Drop him a voice note.
Yeah, they like a voice note. 1.5 times speed. We can get it all across.
Yeah.
He'll love that.
And if you still got that check.
Yeah.
Go all out for a midfielder. All of the above, none of the above. What would you do if you were them?
Well, I'm not going to answer your question. I'm going to just say something.
I'd love that.
Remember when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was a PE teacher that played on Vibes and came second and third?
Yeah, I remember that.
And the only problem was that he couldn't win the finals he was in.
Be nice, wouldn't it?
And he was playing some really good third man running football. We had tactics, which is hilarious considering that all he did was vibes, apparently. But we had tactics. We would go to places like the Etihad and we would get results.
Consistently.
And we went to Parc des Princes in a big Champions League game with a team full of kids. You know, Angel Gomez, Mason Greenwood, Tahiv Chong. Fucking Ashley Young was the captain. Like, just an absolute mad team. And you go behind and you get a result.
There's a quote here. It's in May 2021 when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer apologised to Man United fans. And I'll tell you what he's apologising for in a minute. He said, I know we are not where we want to be in the league. He was apologising because we'd finished second.
Meanwhile, standards and that. Yeah. Standards have been a problem, and Ollie was a problem because we accepted that standard. A man that was apologising for us finishing second. No, you make your fucking bed and you lie in it, all of you people that wanted Ollie out, all you fucking twats that wanted him gone. You make your bed and you drink this Kool-Aid and you fucking gargle it. You fucking bought this. And then you said you wanted a manager who played a system. And now you're moaning that a manager won't play any other system than his system. You want him to play 4-3-3, like all the other managers that you sacked. Like Louis, like Jose, like David Bastard Moyes, or he was more of a 4-2-3-1 man, but whatever. Like Eric Ten Hag. You get a man in and you want him to change his system to fit the system that you think that we should be playing. What's the point in appointing a man who's got a system? Now, I do think he was a little bit more flexible in Portugal than he's shown to be here, but he's almost backed into a corner where he can't change it now because he looks weak. He looks like he ain't got a fucking clue what he's doing if he changed it now. He almost has to persist with this now. I think you can tweak what happens on the transitions, and I think you probably should. And you probably should work on set plays, I don't know, 4 out of the 5 days this week. Just if you're calling it old-fashioned. I would get the lights booked for training, and I'd be like, we're going home until you don't concede for an hour at set plays. And Beckham's coming back to whip him in, so enjoy that with his pink boots, right? You wanted a manager that had a system. You wanted open heart surgery, you wanted to clear the deadwood. You want all these things, but you're not prepared to go through the fucking dramas that it takes to win these things. And I read a lot of the comments last night, people saying, you can't hark back to Fergie. Fergie was 1 in a billion. Yeah, you're actually proving my fucking point. That if it took Fergie so long, when you're doing a cultural reset, that starts from the bottom. That starts from trying to change the culture. That starts from getting that bomb squad out of the place. Because when you say put a bib on, they pull the fucking face. When you say, hey, your opposition. Because that's supposedly what Jadon Sancho was doing. Didn't want to play opposition, right? You're getting rid of all the people who pull the face and not play to the instructions that you want, right? And do people think results are immediate? I think they do. I think sometimes football training requires, we do it today, and we can get a bit of an incremental improvement, and we'll do it again tomorrow, and we'll come back in a few days and we'll do it. And hopefully it starts to stick. I said it on tour, that Arsenal game's come too fast for us. You know, we still haven't had our striker. We've been playing like a false 9 all summer with not having a striker. Sesko's going to take a little bit of time to settle in. You know, Mbeumo and Cunha are going to take a little bit of time to understand each other's runs. Ahmad and Mbeumo are making the same fucking run and occupying the same sort of space. I think they'll figure it out because they look like they're intelligent footballers. But it's not going to happen in one game. And it's not going to happen under the pressure of playing against Fulham, playing against Grimsby. As you know, as easily as we should have turned up and just dealt with and dispatched Grimsby, you can't learn while the game's happening. You have to fucking watch it afterwards. The progress gets done in training. Well, guess what? You got another night off now, every single week. So we can get some more learning done. It does have to change. We have to be harder to play against, and we have to create more repeatable patterns for chance creation. But what the fuck do people want? Guess what? We've tried changing the manager. Loads. It don't work. And people are like, football has changed. One, no it fucking ain't. Last time I checked, it was still 11 versus 11, right? And if anything, it's cyclical. So the shapes and the patterns that you're seeing now, Walter Winterbottom was fucking about with that shit in 1909, right? The way football is played, there's emphasis on different things. Sometimes there might be more dribbling, sometimes there might be more passing, sometimes there might be more balls in the air, sometimes there might be more balls on the floor. But the game is the game. Sometimes there's more emphasis on fouling and less emphasis on fucking fouling because of the way rules are interpreted. But the game is the game. And I'll tell you what hasn't changed, management. Because it's still managing the personalities that are under your disposal. Squad size might have changed, I'll give you that. That has changed. But you still got to manage people. And if you want to change the culture of a football club, that takes time. So Alex Ferguson was still getting rid of the likes of Whiteside 3 years into his appointment because they was part of that drinking culture that he had to dismantle. The likes of Strachan and all of them lot, like McGrath. McGrath didn't go to, 91?
I don't know, like, you're right though, because, McGrath, anyone who watched him says he was one of the best defenders we've ever had. But it didn't work. It wasn't working with him. You always argue that Marcus Rashford on his day is one of our best players, but it wasn't working with him. The manager has to move him on. He has to sort of say, look, as Steve's saying, it's a cultural reset. And I agree with everything you've said, Steve. I get all that. I understand it. But I still think when you look at the amount of defeats we've had, that's the issue. It's because it's so bad. It's so bad. Because even Fergie, people try to rewrite it. Fergie came in, we were right near the bottom when Atkinson got sacked. He took us up to 11th that season, in that half a season. So we won a lot of games.
Yeah. Then we came second.
So he bought himself a little bit.
Then we came 11th though.
Yeah. Then we had that, but there'd been a bit there. I think the problem with Amorim, he didn't even have a new manager bounce. We drew the first game at Ipswich, and it felt like a bit of a...
Winning the Europa might have helped.
Yeah, no, it would, definitely.
Yeah.
But it would have been, because it had validated that entire run.
Yeah.
Because whether you like it or not, that run was affected by Europa.
Yeah.
It was. You would, if we'd have got knocked out from Europa, the first opportunity, he would have won more games in the Premier League. So it is skewed.
That is fair. It is. But even like getting to the Europa final, it's like he did for all it. It's a negative in the end. Yeah. Because it's not, you got to the Europa final, well done. It's, you got to a final and lost to Tottenham Hotspur. You fucking fraud.
It's worse to lose a final than it is to lose a quarter-final.
Yeah, of course it is.
Somehow.
And especially when you look at the context of it.
Like, well, you've got them extra 5 games.
Ollie lost the semi-final to Sevilla, didn't he? In the Europa.
Yeah.
And people were annoyed and whatever, but it wasn't like the wheels had come off, this is a fucking disaster.
The way losing the final was.
Yeah, we lost the final to Villarreal on penalties. During the season, we finished second, and people looked at it as, this guy can't do it. This guy isn't good enough.
Look how close he was.
Mate.
He came second twice, essentially, which apparently, looking at Arteta, is absolutely dandy.
Like, it's it is what it is. I mean, we're at the stage where we're going to start pining for the fucking glory days of David Moyes at this rate. Every manager we look back on seems to be like, hard done by.
Do you think anyone knows, or anyone has an idea of what actually needs to change then? Because like you said, Steve, you can sort of change things and get rid of people, but it's still, there's a bit of a lag on that, and there's still a bit of time before, getting Rashford out and getting Sancho and this, and they're not fully out, let's be honest, but they're not training, they're not with the squad.
We couldn't sell beer to our pub, Joe.
I know. But do you think, other than just sitting and waiting, almost like you're dealing with a loss of a loved one or something, there's no fix, but in 5 years' time it will be easier than it is now. Do you think that they're almost just thinking, we just need to close our eyes and get to Christmas or get to May? Do you understand what I mean? Do you think they have a thing to fix, or do you think they just have to go through this and get to the other side of it?
I don't know is the truthful answer, but I think there's multiple options here for INEOS. Mm-hmm. Now, on one hand, we don't have any data for them sacking a head coach at Manchester United, right? That they've appointed. That they seemingly backed and then sacked Erik ten Hag relatively quickly, 4 months after publicly backing him. He was gone. Dan Ashworth came, didn't even have the sign put on his door, and was gone again. So I think that they can make quick decisions when they need to. But this is a manager that they've kind of gone all in on. This is their decision to appoint. It is their detriment if he's not good enough. That takes away points towards their decision making if he's not good enough and has to be replaced. But it is an option on the table. Now, I would argue to the point of, unlike when Ruben Amorim was available, the pool of managers that kind of align and fit the bill is relatively small. Now, I know the comments will absolutely disagree. That's their prerogative. But I think when you looked at when Erik ten Hag went, if you rolled it back to Erik ten Hag's CV, he would have been the top person for the job.
Yeah.
If you do the same with Ruben Amorim, if you sack Ruben Amorim now, but then roll it back to his Sporting Lisbon CV and erase what he's done at Manchester United, he would be the person that gets the job. So what is it about? We've changed quite a lot of players. Not changed all of them, but we've changed quite a lot of players in the last decade, and it hasn't worked. We have changed all of the managers. They've only been given a couple of years tops, all of them, and it hasn't worked. The only sort of new thing that we've done recently is INEOS have appointed this football board of Barada and Wilcox, etc., Vival. And I think that obviously has a more of a lag. And yet, people are quite right to say, well, Thomas Frank did X and Y. Okay, maybe that team was just easier to take from where they were to where they needed to be. I always thought Steven Gerrard was a dog shit manager. Dog shit. So when Emery came in, of course, that Villa team was way below performing where he had them performing.
Yeah, okay.
Now, Manchester United last year probably wasn't a top 10 squad on balance, because a football team lives and dies on its weakest link, not its strongest parts. And people misinterpret that massively. It's your weakest links, your mistakes, which is what loses you games. Last year to this year, it's different, because last year we could not score the goals. The personnel in that team did not and could not score goals. This year, you've got the personnel. Now, the evidence isn't there that they will score goals in a Manchester United shirt, but they've only just, they're 3 games into their Manchester United careers. Settling in's clearly not allowed in 2025, and that used to be a thing. People used to get a free hit at it for a season. That doesn't happen anymore.
No.
And I thought we tried to jump the queue a little bit with that by bringing 2 Premier League proven signings, and that is meant to be the benefit of that you don't have the settling in period, because they are used to the league and the tempo of it. You can forgive Sesko perhaps maybe taking a little bit longer to bed in because he is adapting to a new country and a new league. But the other 2 should have maybe hit the ground a little bit better running. Now, they've both had mixed performances. Cunha's probably been a little bit more of a high note consistently. And Bumo's had a little bit of a mixed performance. He was quite ineffective against Fulham, but he was very good against Arsenal. And he was, I know he scored, but he was pretty ineffective he came on and didn't really have space to run into, I guess, did he? When you look at the different options that are available on the table to him, a midfielder, a brand new shiny Baleba, doesn't change that result last night. Doesn't change that performance last night. Can't do that on his own. So do you go big in the transfer window to see it off? Maybe. Maybe they do. Maybe this is the Brentford Casemiro crossroads that we hit a couple of years ago, where they pull the trigger because they've absolutely panicked on whatever's happening right now. I hope not, to be honest.
Was it Casemiro and Anthony, wasn't it, that we got?
Was they both done at the same time?
Yeah, it was last minute for both of them, wasn't it?
Well, at least they both worked out to be rousing successes. I think there is an option that happens.
Yeah.
There is an option that they sack him. Even though I don't believe there's... they've just backed this guy to the tune of 200 million for a brand new front line. I've spoken to various different people over the last day or so. I do agree that if somebody came in and went, we're playing 4-2-3-1 with that team, you'd probably get more of a tune out of it than what we're getting with the system that we're getting with Amorim at the moment. I think that'd be fair. I think we're very, very open on the transition. Very open, very easy to play against. Weird though, because we're not actually conceding doing that. But I do worry about how easy we are to play against, how little control we elicit in matches. That needs to change. There is a chance that they go, this is our guy, and we'll see it through. In which case, the noise won't go away, because it's Manchester United. TalkSport have got 47 shows booked in for today, where they're going to, that'll be the only topic they talk about. Sky the same. That's how it's going to be. We have no data. Outside of Ashworth, we have no data on what INEOS.
They were pretty ruthless at in France, at Nice. 6 managers in 7 years or something like that, which obviously they
But Wilcox wasn't involved in that.
Exactly.
I think he's a very big voice in that.
Yeah, I agree.
I get where you're coming from, but I also think Jim Ratcliffe's not, I keep saying this, he's not a child. He's going to want to see something here, isn't he? Because he's not going to be around forever. So I don't imagine that if this carries on, he's going to be like, oh yeah, we'll be all right.
Yeah, and 80-odd-year-old billionaires are known for their patience.
Exactly. He's going to want to see something where he can go, okay, we're going to win the title, in my lifetime. That would be nice.
Was he 73? So
I'm not saying he's about to croak it, 'cause he's a fit guy who runs marathons, yeah. But he's going to want to see this club moving forward, and he wants to be known as the guy that's rescued United.
Yeah.
He won't be the guy that's relegated Manchester United, or the guy that's took 25 years since he took over for United to win anything.
To get back to where they were before he took over.
So I get where Steve's coming from, but the one thing that I was looking at last night, and I know we've spoke about it, so I don't want to keep going backwards, is Amorim. Amorim isn't giving me the vibe of someone who's fully believing in what he's doing, or that the players are buying into what he's doing. So there's a chance that he's
Quotes are mad.
Yeah, like that's the most sort of I don't know if I'm the right man for the job quote I've ever seen from a United manager.
Do you know?
Like genuinely, I've never seen that from a United manager before.
What I think it might be with Amorim is we've all. He might even be one of these couples, but we've all got mates who are those couples who every 2 weeks they're screaming that this is it. I've had enough.
Yeah.
We're done. Fuck. Next day you see him on Instagram kissing on the couch with a chocolate and they're having a little movie day together.
Yeah,
Some people just fucking let it all out and the next day go, sorry about when I resigned, or I quit, or I broke up with you, or you know what I mean?
Or 1 hour at the telly.
Yeah. Amorim feels like one of those people. I bet him and his wife have been falling out, breaking up every other week, especially, you know what I mean? Like he seems like that sort of guy. He threatened to quit or offered to quit if they didn't win the next game. I think 2 games in when he got the Sporting job, he either, like you said, either offered to quit or considered quitting once already with Manchester United.
Did he do it at his first club?
That was it, not Sporting. It was the first one. It was
not Braga. What was it?
Casapia, that was it.
Yeah, he said if you don't win the next game, I'm done.
Yeah, and they won. And I've interviewed a player who was there when he said it, and that happened.
To be fair, when Paddock have lost, I've left the group chat.
Yeah, exactly. And he's a sort of leaving the group
which is fine, Steve. And that's fine. I get it, I understand it. But from a Manchester United manager, it's slightly disconcerting.
You don't want that around you all the time.
You do.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Bit of flavour.
Oh, we lost. The manager's gone then.
Yeah, he'll be back tomorrow. Don't worry.
Don't worry. Just ignore that resignation letter.
He might be one of those people.
He'll just pretend you didn't open.
It's not boring.
Yeah,
it's not boring, but it's a bit worrying. But then
the one thing as well that sort of, I get INEOS have bought in these players, but they've also bought players that can play for almost any manager. Like Brian Mbumo, Mateus Cunha and Benjamin Sesko are all players that you could put these players in almost any team in the Premier League.
The only new position that we didn't used to have was wing back.
Yeah.
And we haven't even bought one of them.
No, I mean Dorgu can play left back or left wing back.
Or,
it's not like
we bought
it's not like we went out and spent £90 million on a player who can only play wing back.
No, it's pretty cheap and he's pretty versatile.
Yeah, it was 20 million quid. And he's a fullback or a wing back.
Not sacking your manager because of Patrick Dorgu. No, you're not going. Well, we can't sack Amorim because the next manager won't be able to use Dorgu.
And that is important anyway. And preparing for the next guy is always worth doing because we all know, like you said, Steve, the average life expectancy of a United manager is 2 years. So
it's basically you're looking at baby turtles on the beach, and United managers are right next to each other in terms of life expectancy.
Yeah.
Oh, is that only baby turtles?
Yeah, it's because of these straws.
Oh.
I know they fall into them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Do you know when have you ever seen that guy do the sort of pole vault and he lands over and it hits his bollocks?
Yeah.
That happens to the turtles.
Oh,
impaled on their own Ribena. It's unbelievable. Have you ever seen a turtle drink a Capri Sun, trip over, straw goes through his eye? Horrible.
I haven't got the patience for this today.
But just
I
with
take it
Amorim.
way more off road.
This is what I mean. Don't please.
Do you think he'll quit?
You two win.
And actually sort of follow through on it and mutual decision, but he's sort of stormed in and quit.
No, because I reckon his contract is outrageous, and it's one of them. If you quit, you get a cardboard box with all your stuff in it. And if you get sacked,
and
you
we'll
get
invoice you for the box.
30 million quid.
Yeah.
So I reckon every time he writes that letter or sends that text, someone else grabs his shit and deletes it. Like, I think, no.
Do you think he'll still be here at the end of the season?
It's a mad possibility that he's a massive possibility that he's not.
Yeah. After that,
luckily, the fella that was throwing up a flag for Gareth Southgate, I don't even know where he is anymore. So that's
he's throwing up flags for other things now. He's got all sorts of flags to worry about these days.
He must have a right garden, by the way.
I do think he'll be here at the end of the season.
No, I don't. I think he'll quit. I don't know. I get the money thing. I think he's that emotional. He'll burn 30 million quid or whatever it is, just in a fit of meltdown. I think his missus will be like, "What? What do you mean? What?"
And then they'll threaten to get divorced.
Yeah,
and then they won't.
and he'll be like, "Oh, I can't do it anymore. No, it's over. Forget it. We're going back to Portugal."
Screaming at each other in the beer garden.
And she's like, "Oh, you've ruined my life." And he's like, "Oh, you didn't have any money, so you met me. Stop moaning. We'll be all right. We're going to live at my mum's." Like,
that felt close to home. Jesus.
we've all had those discussions,
there, right?
No, I think he's. This is the beginning of the end. That's how I feel.
Wow.
Look,
I mean, it might be. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's the results, the football, the manager's comments, the opportunities for silverware.
What could we see against Burnley that makes you go, "We're fucking back, baby"?
Mate, we'd have to win. We'd have to break
nothing.
the record for the biggest win for me to think something's happened.
3-0 win, controlled, dominant.
I hope I'm wrong. I'm not.
Changes a
Then it's
lot.
international break.
Yeah.
And then it's only City after that.
Bro, that 1-1 draw at Burnley this weekend's gonna hit like crack.
I think
that 93rd minute Axel Tuanzebe equaliser is gonna absolutely smash it.
By the way, why am I not on the short list of the bookies?
I can't believe we can't. We'll have a word about that. We'll see if we can get odds on Stephen Howson. That's a different
we'll try and
story.
get odds on you being next United
Before we
manager.
wrap up though, let's talk about Adam McCall's shared his thoughts, and this is one of the reasons why I think that it might be sort of the beginning end for Amorim.
When Delulu thinks,
No,
not saying 21 is coming.
Yeah, but he's still backing him. He's still behind him, but he doesn't have his usual confidence. Here's what Macca's had to say about it anyway.
Yes, people, what is going on? So it's the morning after the night before of one of Manchester United's most embarrassing defeats ever, probably. It's probably since York City in the same stage of the competition around 1995. Like, what the hell happened? A team 3 divisions below Manchester United, and with a third game into the season. You know, we had a good pre-season in terms of, getting that squad together, working on things, getting the full pre-season with most of the players there. Now, we're still missing a few players, but that's no excuse. The disparity in levels between Manchester United's players and Grimsby's players means we should be able to just turn up and knock them off the park, regardless of systems. People talking about systems after we've lost against Grimsby. The system's nothing to do with it. These players have to take a responsibility. And maybe that's why he's come out after the game and he's speaking that way, because he feels like he's lost the dressing room based off that performance. Now, he is a very emotional man. Maybe it was pure emotion speaking after the game. Maybe he's woke up today and he feels a little bit differently about things. But that performance spoke volumes. I was fortunate. I'm out here in Barcelona with Polestars. I was fortunate I didn't watch it. I did watch the penalty shootout. It'll be interesting to see the reaction of Jim Ratcliffe, Barada, Wilcox. What will they do? How will they be feeling this morning? Will this be a tipping point for them? Because up until this point, it has felt like Amorim, Barada, Wilcox, Ratcliffe, they're all on the same page. He's their guy. They're going to back him. They're going to support him. But then you look at that performance and I'm one of these guys that doesn't overreact a lot. You know what I mean? I try to be sensible in my analysis. I try to be the fan that I am, because ultimately I want Manchester United to do well. I want this manager to do. I don't want us to sack another manager. I don't want us to, do all this madness. I want to get behind everybody at all times. But even for the most sane fans, it's difficult to support this right now, because you are looking at a manager based on results that looks like he's out of his depth at the club. in the Premier League. And that is a sad state of affairs. I like Ruben Amorim. I think he says all the right things. And maybe that's why I like him. Because we've had so many managers in the past that haven't understood their position of Man United manager and have sometimes tried to throw us under the bus as fans and things like that. And you're thinking, what's going on here? I like Ruben when he's speaking. I don't like the results. I do think his system can work, but it hasn't been. Does he need to adapt? Does he need to change things up? You know, I don't think the formation is the thing here, but maybe it's the manager's just not getting a trick out of these players. And he said it himself, you're not going to change 22 players again. It's just crazy, man. I can't believe we're already here. I genuinely can't. Look, I was saying in the summer, look, I think this manager's going to do it. I think he's going to turn this club around. But at the same time, I knew there was a world where maybe by Christmas, we're looking at potentially sacking him. But it's the 28th of August. We haven't even got into September yet. We haven't even got into the first international break yet. I've still got hope he can turn this around. And maybe I'm the last one on the Titanic. You know what I mean? Maybe I am. That could be a possibility, but it feels like it's not going to end up that way, unfortunately. And yeah, man, he looked like a broken man. This is what Manchester United can do to people if you don't get it right. We've got Burnley up next at home, and you'd like to think that should be a win. But after the performance against Grimsby, I'm not too sure. Will the manager change something? Who knows? Or will he hand in his resignation the day after that game? Which again would say a lot. But yeah, like I said, my overwhelming feeling is I'm still behind this man. Just.
So Mac is still with him, but you can see the enthusiasm. When you're losing the enthusiasm, Adam McCullough, you're in serious trouble.
It's tough stuff, isn't it? Get your thoughts in the comments. I mean, we've talked. It's all one topic, but there's literally been so much to get into after the comments, the performances, the transfers, the ownership. It's absolutely horrible and mad at Man United.
That
Only
new keeper
3 games in. No.
Get on the phone
and
to
he's
you,
not
mate.
here. Yeah, get that sorted.
Get
You
some
can sort
info.
that.
You're right, little weasel. I know he knows.
Yeah.
He knows. He
I know what's
knows.
going on.
He'll tell us like a minute before the team's announced the summit. He'll go, by the way.
When life gives you lemons. He'll tweet something like that. And then after, what does that mean, Steve? Is he coming or not? God, he can't do this to us. Thank you very much for joining us. This has been Off the Bar. We'll see you in a bit.